and now our senior pole navigator and Polynesian Voyaging Society CEO. He's distinguished himself as a global leader in the indigenous science of traditional Pacific navigation, that is, navigating without modern instruments, using only the stars and wind and currents as did our ancestors. He has brought the canoe here today to San Francisco to uplift indigenous knowledge and to amplify the urgent call for action to restore our oceans and help heal the planet. Please welcome Mr. Nainoa Thompson.
Aloha mai kākou. Sometimes I find myself where it's difficult to express how you feel. And this is certainly one of those times. What I feel the most is a lot of aloha for all of you that took the time to be here on this day. Because you're here, it helps us understand that there's value in our work based on our beliefs. And because sometimes it gets pretty dark out there, the challenges before us seem like storms we'll never get through. But when you see people come together, you always have a chance. So the Bay Area people, Sausalito and San Francisco, mahalo on behalf of our whole crew. When it comes difficult to express how you feel, it's when you get greeted by a Pacific Islander that chooses their home to be here. From our home, you know, there's a term that the world knows, it's called Polynesia, but really it's Moana Nui Akea. Moana Nui Akea is known throughout all of the Polynesian islands, at 10 million square miles. That's larger than 3 times the continental United States. And that if you exclude the landmass of Aotearoa, add up all the other tiny islands, it's 600 times more water than land. It's an ocean place. And so when there is a Polynesian that comes here to be with us, we feel like we're in our family. And family is something that we protect. It's something that we love. And I do want to thank all the leadership that we have here that would allow us the permission to be here with you today. And I really want to thank the Ohlone. Essentially, if they did not give us permission, we wouldn't come in. Because that is a statement of respect to them that have been here 10, 12,000 years. What I heard today was, said, welcome home. We're just across the water. One family that needs to come together. And I do want to thank all the people that work so hard, hundreds of, I kind of like run away when I look at everybody on their emails and their texts and their telephone phones. It just took so much coordination to take an idea of a voyaging canoe to come into Aquatic Park as if it means something. And I do want to pick out Michael. Where are you? Michael Oberon, he is like the genius and the coordinator of all this. I mean, he does Super Bowl events, but he was tireless, and we thank his family for giving him to us for months on end to make this day happen. Michael, thank you. Moana Nui Akea is our most recent voyage. On this voyage, we will cross 50 years of this canoe sailing. We'll cross 300,000 miles in the next 47 months. Moana Nui Akea is a time to help us understand, and I will say this, and you could disagree, but it's our belief that student navigators, and by the way, you know, I'm not a master navigator, I'm still in kindergarten. What's important to know and to say and to respect the fact that when this canoe was launched 48 years ago, us guys in Hawaii did not know anything. We didn't know the name of a star, the direction of the wind. We didn't know what a star compass was. We didn't know what a sheet line was. And so my point is, everything that we do now was taught by extraordinary teachers. Top of the list is P.I. Luke. Mao, from a tiny island called Satawal in the Western Carolines. It's 1.25 miles long, it's half a mile wide. The highest dirt is 8 feet. And the Spanish and the Germans and Japanese and Americans had no interest in Satawal because they had no lagoons, had no military needs, and so they left the school alone. It's called Wodiang, the most powerful school in navigation in the world. And Mao is a master because he lives in the realm of magic, that his relationship to nature and to the ocean is about oneness. There is no difference about the lightning and Mao, or the bird and Mao, or the wave and Mao. It's the same thing. And that is what we sail for, that connection to nature, because you cannot protect what you don't understand. And you won't do it if you don't care. And Moana Nui a Kea is the third equation. You can't do it by yourself. You got to connect. So when we set off on this voyage, maybe you want to know, why did we come to the Pacific Northwest first? Because of you, the native people. We want to learn what is the relationship and the balance that we knew in the past for thousands of years that allowed families to thrive and to strive and keep the environment in balance. And that was the same thing that Mao is. That the eagle and the raven and the killer whale, the family names are a clear attachment of who we are as human beings to the natural world. So for 12,000 years, 14,000 years, we came here because we wanted to be close to the people, to learn from the people that were closest to the ocean the longest. Thank you. Moana Nui a Kea is not a choice, it's an obligation. I will make these comments and you may not agree with them, it's okay. But I don't believe there'll ever be any healthy living system on the earth if the oceans are not healthy. I believe you kill the oceans, you kill our children's future. We could choose to stay home. This is by far the longest and the most dangerous voyage we'll ever take. And the question is it going to be worth it? And it's hard to answer that question. You got to go. The last 4 months, we traveled from Yakutat, Alaska, 60 degrees north, 2/3 of the way to the North Pole. Hubbard Glacier was there. Only 2 of the glaciers amongst the thousands in Alaska that is advancing. The rest are not. And we went there and came south through British Columbia and then into the United States. And this leg here was from Tacoma to San Francisco. And we knew that this would be statistically the most dangerous passage. Your coastline off here, this coast. Because our perception as students of navigation, you only know where you are by memorizing where you come from, but you got to memorize in nature. So we're constantly watching that horizon. Your ocean is alive all the time. Your ocean is changing all the time. And we were really concerned about this lake, even though it was only 800 miles, that we weren't prepared for it. That we could captain canoes, we can't pilot them. And so it was a dangerous trip that had to get us to here. But one thing that we learned deeply, in near fog for 40 hours is a little intimidating, by the way. And we learned to become humble. That's when you have a chance or permission to talk to nature. And we pay respect to this ocean here. And we're grateful to the Miwok that when we snuck in, we didn't want to spend another night out at sea because the weather changes so much. So we snuck into underneath the Golden Gate Bridge around midnight, and the Miwok were there to greet us in Sausalito. And then and today for the Ohlone to give us permission to be on this land, and they talked about today about we're still here. You're not just still here. You're necessary for us to figure out the code. We need to figure out how are we going to live our lives differently in relationship with the natural world. You guys know how to do this. And you've been tested more than I have. More than many, many people, maybe in this audience. You were tested when your 14,000 years of tradition was taken away. You were tested when the brutality of the last 250 years. You're not just here, you're strong. And that we came to the British Columbia, Alaska, and this part of Pacific Northwest to learn from you. And what we found was, the thing that I would just summarize is that in the end, it seems that the equation of 29 different communities we went to, the equation's the same. Love. Love of home, love of family, and the love of your children's future. Basic, simple. And that the choice is by every community was that we are going to use our ancient traditions to help us find a way. So we're deeply grateful for all of those who allowed this voyage to take place. Moana Nui Akea, for me, I go into these bouts of, I guess, depression. When we look at every single media story, maybe not every. When we got TVs in Hawaii when I was a kid, it was black and white, 3 channels. They turned it off at 10 o'clock at night. The only thing that made me come home before sunset was 2 heroes. Carl Sagan, that took me to the cosmos, and Jacques Cousteau, that took me below the ocean. They made me fall in love with nature. The danger now is, what do our children see on their telephones and on their iPads? What do they see? And my concern is, and we're seeing it in Hawaii with the impact on children, primarily their mental and emotional and spiritual health, that the stories are always about reasons why you should be afraid of nature. Wrong. Yes, it feels like we're in the black of the storm, but I believe we can beat the crisis of climate. We can beat the crisis of biodiversity loss. We can win the challenge of sustainability if we do one primary thing: come together. And what we need is the navigator. What we need is the navigator to allow us to understand, a person that deeply understands nature, that spends a lifetime connecting with communities, donates everything of her life into wildlife, into nature, with the understanding we will not survive unless they do. And so that navigator, I asked her to come here. I kind of begged her to come. Because in the black of the storm, she has a flashlight to show humanity the way out. That flashlight is from her heart and her mind and her love for something so deeply that she'll fight for it for generations and generations. That great navigator that I believe I follow and I learn and I get in the wake of her work. And is the premier, in my opinion, expert on the ocean and the atmosphere. Same thing as water. But it's her fierceness and dedication to something that is so inspiring. I will follow her forever. Dr. Sylvia Earle.